I think in practical terms, there is the challenge is translating those words into something that does mean something, into reality, if you like. And I think there are various techniques that one can use to do that in terms of the duty to involve, which is about engaging local people, but engaging them in a meaningful way. I mean, I think we've all been guilty of the past of consulting local residents on Initiative X or Initiative Y, and then it comes and goes. And it's trying to develop that relationship over a period of time, as opposed to being a series of one-offs. But also to try and pick up on the point that their interaction with the public service their interpretation of that is quite different to those of us who are actually involved in the day-to-day. So, in a sense, they tend to hold the local authority responsible for virtually everything, whereas quite often they're issues that are nothing to do with the authority. And so, the extent to which we can make that landscape more straightforward and easier to understand for local residents, so it really focuses on what's important to them as opposed to which agency may be involved, is really an important part of that. And there's a lot to be gained from doing that engagement in a joined up way, so that we don't go out to communities this week talking about housing and next week talking about policing, but to actually do it in a coordinated way. And that's one way in which a partnership can add value to the way in which the public sector works together in the locality. As far as the duty to cooperate is concerned, it's an important part of the recent legislation, but again it's translating what that means into reality. And I think a lot of that is then getting into the dynamics of the place, how those agencies, and particularly some of the senior people in those agencies, relate to each other, and what some of those personal relationships are, and the extent to which from that you can draw a combined will, as it were, to focus on some key issues that confront, in our case, the city of Wolverhampton. And I think a part of what a partnership can do, with support through things like local improvement advisors, is to try and enable that to happen, to facilitate that discussion and to bring that focus to what it is that the partnership can do that could add value to and improve what it is that those individual agencies are doing in their own right. It's partly to do with understanding those dynamics, be they the dynamics of the organisations or the particular individuals involved, but also understanding some of the other pressures and the competitions for time and effort that come down on agencies working in a locality, be that from government or particular financial pressures or whatever. So in a sense, there is an issue about winning hearts and minds of people to see the value in doing this and putting some time and effort into it, which may take a while in terms of seeing any discrete or definite benefit from that. But I think the message is a relatively simple one. If we all pull together and focus on some shared priorities and some shared issues, then the cumulative effect of that should be greater than if it's done in a disparate and disjointed way. It's quite easy to say, it's really very difficult to do. And I think a part of the role of a local improvement advisor is to help people like me in the role that I'm in identify where some of those key levers could be, some of those pinch points could be, so that we can focus in on that as something that, well, if we do something about this issue here, it will make a big difference to our longer term outcomes. And it may be that's about thinking about issues slightly differently, thinking about the causes, not the effects, thinking about intervening earlier in the life cycle, looking at those sorts of issues, and trying to get away from the single agency approach to addressing some of the fundamental underlying problems that often face, in our case, an urban area in significant economic change. There isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to this. But I think there is some value to be gained from trying to see those issues in a more joined up way and saying, well, actually, we're interested in the life journey of a child rather than what an individual agency in a particular point in time of the life of that child has got an initiative or an intervention that it might want to make. If the outcome of the cumulative effect of all of that is not a good outcome, then we've wasted a lot of time and effort. And it's trying to find ways in which we can join some of that stuff up better, I think. I think there's something about focus, and I think there's something about understanding some of those fundamental issues. But also, I think recognising that some of the issues that we face, particularly as you say with the current economic climate, are not just the role of economic development. There are things that other agencies can do in a locality which could impact positively or respond to the challenges that we face. Quite often the people sat around an LSP table represent some of the major employers in the locality. What are they doing in terms of their own skills development, their own work within their workforce, their own recruitment processes that may mitigate against some of the economic or employment issues that we face? How are they using their collective purchasing power to impact maybe more positively than maybe we've done in the past? Also, the extent to which it's possible through some of the networks we have to provide a more joined up response to support those people who are facing unemployment, redundancy and so on, and using some of the work or the networks we've got in the voluntary and community sector to support them, to support people, be it with debt counselling, people facing housing repossessions and so on. So there's a whole series of things, I think, that if you can have that dialogue across a partnership rather than with an individual partner, you're more likely to be able to draw something out from that may make a difference. Partnerships don't deliver anything. We rely on our partners to do the delivery. It's helping to shape what they deliver to the best collective good, and that's what I think part of the role of the local improvement advisor is to do.